Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Salam sejahtera untuk kita semua. Mohon perkenalkan, saya Tasia Amelia. Saya adalah salah satu dosen dari Sekolah Farmasi Institut Teknologi Bandung. Saya bergabung dengan kelompok keilmuan farmakokimia Sekolah Farmasi ITB sejak tahun 2016. Saya adalah lulusan SMA Negeri 1 Bandung pada tahun 2008. Kemudian saya melanjutkan pendidikan saya ke jenjang sarjana dan juga apoteker di Universitas Andalas hingga tahun 2013. Kemudian saya melanjutkan pendidikan master saya di tahun 2013 dan pendidikan doktor saya di 2020 di Institut Teknologi Bandung. Saya memiliki fokus pengajaran dan penelitian di bidang analisis farmasi dan kimia medisinal dengan topik penelitian saya yaitu mengenai pengembangan inhibitor EGFR sebagai kandidat anti kanker paru, pengembangan ligan fungsional terhadap adenosin A2A reseptor, dan sintesis dan fungsionalisasi cyanopyrimidin dan senyawa santin. Hasil-hasil penelitian yang saya peroleh dari penelitian tersebut, saya gunakan untuk memperbaharui materi mata kuliah yang saya ajar. Dengan demikian, mahasiswa dapat terus mengikuti perkembangan informasi mengenai bidang analisis farmasi dan kimia medisinal. Pada kesempatan ini, mohon izinkan saya untuk memaparkan salah satu kuliah yang saya ampu, yaitu mata kuliah kimia medisinal. Pada kurikulum sebelumnya, mata kuliah ini diberikan kepada mahasiswa tingkat akhir atau di semester 7. Namun pada kurikulum terbaru, kami mengganti mata kuliah ini diberikan ke mahasiswa tingkat 3 atau di semester 6, karena mata kuliah ini dianggap dapat menjadi bekal yang baik bagi mahasiswa untuk mengambil tugas akhir di semester berikutnya. Mata kuliah ini merupakan mata kuliah wajib prodi Sains dan Teknologi Farmasi dengan kode mata kuliah FA 3211 dan beban kuliahnya 2 SKS. Pada kuliah ini kami menjelaskan mengenai pendahuluan aspek farmakokinetik obat, metabolisme obat, aspek fisikokimia obat, kemudian target dan mekanisme kerja obat, signal transduction, strategi dalam penemuan senyawa aktif, kemudian ada HSA dan HKSA, kimia kombinatorial, desain obat rasional, dan beberapa contoh pengembangan obat yang telah digunakan saat ini secara klinis yang didasari pada pengembangan obat secara rasional. Mata kuliah ini diberikan dengan metode ceramah, diskusi, tugas, dan tanya jawab, di mana tanya jawab ini selalu dilakukan di awal perkuliahan dengan membahas mata kuliah yang sama dengan materi-materi yang telah diberikan pada pertemuan sebelumnya. Kemudian dari bahan kajian dan kedalaman, mata kuliah kimia medisinal ini memiliki 6 bahan kajian utama dengan semua kedalamannya adalah di tingkat ekspres, di mana seluruh materi yang diberikan ini akan diujikan di akhir semester. Kemudian keterkaitan mata kuliah ini terhadap capaian pembelajaran lulusan Sains dan Teknologi Farmasi. Di sini mata kuliah kimia medisinal terkait dengan CPL 1, yaitu menjelaskan teori dan konsep dasar ilmu kefarmasian. Kemudian CPL 2, menjelaskan sifat fisikokimia dan mekanisme kerja obat. Dan yang terakhir adalah CPL 5, yaitu menjelaskan strategi dalam penemuan senyawa aktif, desain obat rasional, dan pengembangan obat. Mahasiswa yang telah lulus dari mata kuliah kimia medisinal diharapkan mampu menjelaskan landasan ilmiah senyawa yang berfungsi sebagai obat dan target kerja obat, mampu menjelaskan prinsip dasar yang melandasi terjadinya aktivitas biologi, mampu menjelaskan kaitan antara struktur molekul dan karakteristik fisikokimia suatu molekul obat, mampu menjelaskan fitur struktur, target kinerja obat yang berperanan dalam interaksi obat dan target kerja obat. Kemudian mampu menjelaskan respon mekanisme kerja obat berdasarkan terjadinya interaksi obat dan target kerja obat, serta respons seluler yang mengikutinya. Mampu menjelaskan strategi dalam penemuan senyawa aktif dengan pendekatan modifikasi struktur yang dari obat yang sudah ada, penapisan sistematik, pemanfaatan informasi biologis, dan strategi pengembangan obat secara rasional. Dan yang terakhir yaitu mampu menjelaskan contoh desain obat rasional berbasis computer aided drug design dengan pendekatan ligand based ligand design atau LBLD dan structure based ligand design atau SBLD. Berikut adalah rujukan yang kami gunakan pada mata kuliah ini, di mana terdapat 6 rujukan, 2 rujukan yaitu rujukan utama, yaitu buku Fundamentals of Medicinal Chemistry oleh Gareth Thomas dan An Introduction to Medicinal Chemistry oleh Graham Patrick. Kemudian 4 lainnya yaitu rujukan pengaya. Selain 6 rujukan ini, kami juga menggunakan rujukan lain berupa jurnal-jurnal yang baru muncul, baru terbit, yang dipublikasi oleh para peneliti di bidang kimia medisinal. Sehingga diharapkan di sini mahasiswa dapat terus mengikuti informasinya tanpa melewatkan hal-hal penting dalam penemuan obat. Kemudian untuk metode evaluasi yang digunakan pada kuliah ini terdapat 3 komponen penilaian yang kami gunakan, yaitu ujian tengah semester, ujian akhir semester, dan tugas. Ujian tengah semester memiliki bobot 45% dari seluruh penilaian dengan menguji CPMK 1 hingga CPMK 5. Kemudian komponen penilaian ujian akhir semester menguji 45% dari seluruh bobot penilaian dengan menguji CPMK 3, 5, 6, dan 7. Sedangkan tugas, baik tugas individu maupun berkelompok, memiliki bobot penilaian sebesar 10% dengan CPMK yang dituju adalah 3 sampai 7. Dan materi perkuliahan maupun kuis dapat diakses melalui LMS ITB yaitu EduNext oleh seluruh mahasiswa yang mengambil SKS mata kuliah kimia medisinal. Kemudian berikut rencana pembelajaran semester dari mata kuliah kimia medisinal, di mana kami memiliki 16 pertemuan total. Kemudian 2 pertemuan adalah pertemuan ujian atau penilaian dan 14 pertemuan untuk materi. Setengah semester pertama, pembelajaran akan difokuskan mengenai fondasi, yaitu mengenai aspek farmakokinetik obat, metabolisme obat, aspek fisikokimia obat, target dan mekanisme kerja obat, signal transduction, strategi dalam penemuan senyawa aktif, dan HSA/HKSA. Kemudian pada setengah semester berikutnya, pembelajaran akan difokuskan ke bagian teknik, di mana akan dimulai dengan kimia kombinatorial, desain obat rasional dan computer aided drug design, optimasi lead compound, pengembangan dan produksi obat, dan obat-obat yang dikembangkan secara rasional seperti simetidin, obat kolinergik dan adrenergik, dan obat-obat antibakteri dan anti radang. Untuk selanjutnya, mari kita simak video pembelajaran mata kuliah kimia medisinal untuk kelas internasional berikut. Terima kasih. Okay, good morning everyone.
Good morning. Good morning.
So today I will give the lecture about rational drug design by computer-aided drug design. So do you know what is computer-aided drug design?
We design drug using computer?
Yeah, based on the name, right? Computer-aided drug design. So we design drug using computer. And maybe just a little bit of the information. So this class is the second meeting after the mid-exam. So last week I talked about the combinatorial chemistry. Do you still remember about combinatorial chemistry? What is that? Okay, so you need to read it more, right? So combinatorial chemistry, so if you have like a big data in the database, so you want to make it into the smaller data, it's not possible to test one by one, right? So the cost will be very high. So you need to make it smaller data, and then you can test it. That's the combinatorial chemistry that we talked last week. Okay, and this week we will talk about CADD, computer-aided drug design. So I already upload the material, all of the material for this lecture in EduNext. You can access it, and you can check for the introduction of the CADD. And also the information for the reference. So in this lecture I use these 2 kind of the main reference. First is the Gareth Thomas book and also Patrick books, and I add also several journals that I use for the lecture. Okay, so please check it. Okay, so I will start the class. If you have further question, you can ask me directly, or you can just send an email to me. I put my email in here. And maybe before I start, do you know what is drug or medicine? Do you know what is it?
Drug is a compound that can cause a biological effect in your body.
Yeah, that's true. Maybe anyone else want to add some more?
Compound to cure any disease.
Compound to cure any disease. Yeah, both are correct. So if we see the dictionary for Bahasa Indonesia, it says that drug substance is the material to reduce, eliminate disease, or cure someone from disease. And if you try to find a little bit more about the definition for drug, you can also find it in the other dictionary, or maybe like the other pharmacopoeia. So I make the resume. Drug substance is the chemical substance that can provide pharmacological effect, both physically and psychologically. So it's not only about the physically, also the psychologic, and when given to the living organism. Okay, so what's the target of the drug? Do you still remember what's the target of the drug that you can use?
Protein.
Protein. What kind of the protein? Receptor. What else? Enzyme. What else? Only two? Can you also attack the nucleic of the cell? Yeah. So like DNA. So first is enzyme. There's a lot of drug targeting enzyme. Also receptor. Maybe most of the drug targeting receptor. Ion channel, transporter, and also DNA. These are the targets for the drug these days. Okay, so before I talk about the CADD, computer-aided drug design, maybe a little bit of the background. So drug discovery process is like a very, very long process. You start first with the target identification. So you're looking for the research gap. What do you want to do? It's not like directly you want to find a new analgesic drug. It's not like that, right? So you need to find out what's the problem first. For example, the problem is cancer. Why? Cancer, what's the problem with cancer? So the drug for the cancer is not really effective this day, for example. So the survival rate is really low, or maybe the mortality rate is still high. So you need to find the new drug for cancer. So that's the problem. So based on this problem, so you need to find what is the target. We cannot target the whole cell like really a big one. So we can find a smaller target, for example, like the receptor, the enzyme, what kind of receptor, what kind of enzyme that you want to find. And then after we know what's the target that we want to target, and next is the construction and also the screening for the target. And then we can continue to the validation of the target. So now we have the target that we want to attack. And then after we have the target, so next we have to find the drug. It can be like a new drug, or you can also modify the previous drug. It can be both. It can be from heat to leads. Do you know what's the difference between heat and lead? What is heat compound?
Have an biological effect.
Mhm.
Bioactive compound.
Mhm.
It's leads. I cannot remember. Leads is like the potential new candidate.
Mhm.
Can be used to move on for the next stage.
Okay, yeah. So heat is any compound that have biological activity to the target. But for leads, you already do the optimization with this heat. You choose 1 or 2 or maybe like 5, and it will become leads that will be like the beginning of the drug. And then you still have to do the optimization with this lead. Optimization of the lead to give like the more effective drug, and then you can start doing the test, like the safety, the efficacy, etc. So after this process, and then you can continue to the phase 1, which is a safety test, and then phase 2, phase 3, until you have the FDA approval. And can you imagine that the price the cost for each step. Like for example, the first step, the cost is around $1 until $4 million only for the screening of the target. And then you will continue, like maybe it will took you like 2 years, and then you need like 12 until 50 million US dollar. And then you want to continue to the next one, the phase one, maybe 1.5 million US dollar, 20 million, 100 million, billion US dollar. It's really a high price for discovering a drug. So in here, what can computer-aided drug design do is optimizing this process. So you will have like more optimized step. In here, you can find a new drug that have like more efficient, or maybe like less side effect, and maybe more safe for you to take it, etc. So maybe a little bit of the story of the CADD. So the birth of CADD, they said it's like the same time of the birth of this magazine, Fortune. And they have the article in here about the designing drug by computer at Merck. So this magazine at 1981, they published it, and then we can see that the technology start being used by the researcher. So if we check in here, this is the curve of the best deck for the technology evolution. So in here, in the beginning of the technology, there will be an overreaction to the emitter technology, and it will start increasing like until it reaches the peak of hype in here. And then in this peak of hype, the people start like realizing, okay, it has the limited use. Maybe I will not use it. I will not need it. So it's decreasing until the depth of Zionism. Zionism in here, and then it will start raising again because of some true user of the technology. And this is also the same with this CADD. So 1981 is the beginning, and then it reached the peak of hype like 89 until 91, and then it will go to the Zionism like 94 until 96, and like it start raising again from 2000 until now. So do you know what can we learn from computational study? Can you imagine what can we learn?
Interaction of ligand and protein.
Interaction, yes. Interaction of ligand or protein, or maybe interaction of two molecules, right? What else? Can we also predict like the conformation of the compound, mechanism, reaction, right? So there are a lot of the purpose for this computational aided drug design. The first one is molecular geometry. So with the molecular geometry, you can predict the conformation of a substance, a conformation in 3D structure. For example, like this compound, oh, it has the length of the bond like this. It has the angle. It has the dihedral. And then we can also predict the mechanism of the reaction. For example, in here, we have two molecules and we want to know how it can react to each other. So we can predict that, so the carbon in here, with the carbon in here will make the bond because it start moving like close to each other. Or maybe like another kind of the molecule like this, in here with the cyanide group, and then that's how the reaction will be. Okay, and also we can look for the energy. So do you know what kind of energy? Is it lower or higher that have the more stable compound?
Lower.
Lower, right? So we need to find the lower energy to have a good conformation. Okay, and also the chemical reactivity. We can also predict that. For example, in here, this is the output of the energy calculation. So we can gain a lot of information in here. For example, the reaction between this chlorobenzaldehyde with the cyanide group to make this transition state. We want to know if it can reach the transition state in here. So we can find out the energy of each. So you can find out the repulsion, nuclear repulsion, and then electronic energy, and then like the potential energy, kinetic energy in here. And the total energy that you get, you can calculate the activation energy. Do you know what is activation energy? Or we call it EA. What is it?
Energy to start the reaction.
Yeah, energy to start bonding, energy to start the reaction, to form a bond. So if we can find the EA in here, so we can find out if it's possible to have the reaction there. If it's possible, then we can plot it to the energy plot, and we can search which step is the transition state. For example, in here, yeah, we know that this is the transition state. And then we can look in this state, what happened. Okay, and then we can also calculate the HOMO-LUMO energy, and also the prediction of the maximum wavelength if you want to do the analysis. Next one is the prediction of the physical chemistry properties and also the spectra. So for example, in here the IR, NMR. You can also predict like the mass, molecular weight, and then the elemental analysis, how is it looks like, and then log P. Do you know log P? What is that? Log P. What can you say about log P? The solubility in water and also octanol, right? So you can also predict this one with the CADD. And like molar refractivity and also the pKa, that's a lot of information that you can have. And of course, the one that you said, interaction study, so you can do the interaction study between the receptor and also the ligand in the binding site. So you can see in a molecular way how it looks like. What's the interaction? It has the hydrogen bond maybe the interaction for the hydrophobic interaction, etc. So you can see it in the molecular site. And also for the prediction of the molecular mechanics, so you can see in here that the protein is moving because of the solvent, maybe the temperature, the pressure. So you can see how is the movement of a protein. You can also design a new compound with a better activity. And also you can predict toxicity and ADME. ADME, what is ADME? Expression. Okay, perfect. Okay, so now we go to CADD. So CADD has two kinds of calculation. That's the molecular mechanic and quantum mechanic. Which one do you think that's simpler? Molecular mechanic, yes. This one is more simple than quantum mechanics. This is really complicated. I will talk about it later. But in here I want to show you that in CADD there are two kinds of the method that usually use. That's the SBDD, structure-based drug design, and LBDD, ligand-based drug design. And both of these methods using the calculation of molecular mechanics, and the other using the quantum mechanics. Okay, first, this molecular mechanics. Why is it simpler? Because it's more simpler in the calculation, actually. So if you see the animation in the right side, it looks like a ball, two balls with spring in the middle. So this is how the molecule looks like in the molecular mechanics. So the energy, the total energy or total potential energy is only calculating the attractive and repulsive force between two atoms, like this. So it's really simple. So you will not calculate what's inside of this atom, but you only calculate it as the whole atom. So it's like a ball. And the calculation of the molecular mechanics, they use it what we know as force field. So if you use the software, if you use any calculation, that they say that it's force field there, so it's the molecular mechanics. And this force field, they calculated for the total energy as the energy of the bonded and energy of non-bonded. They sum these two energy. Bonded, what is it? So energy of the bonded is from the energy of the bond, angle, and dihedral. What is the difference between bond, angle, and dihedral? Bond between two atoms. Angle? between 3 atoms. Okay, dihedral between 4 atoms. Okay, and then next one is the non-bonded. So everything like the intermolecular interaction. So it's like electrostatic and van der Waals. So
I
yeah.
have a question. So if you go to Avogadro, you can select which force field to choose when you want to optimize the compound. If this is based on the calculation for field, there's force field that optimize for like carbon, for inorganic. What differentiates those different force fields?
Okay, so for the force field, you mean for different molecules?
Yes.
So for force field, it will be the same for the base of the calculation. So the formula is still the same. So as long as you have the bonded and also you have the non-bonded, you can have this force field. Even if you don't have this non-bonded, you only have bonded. So this one will be 0. And you can still calculate it, right? But maybe the accuracy is not really good, the accuracy. Okay, like that. Any other question? Okay. So the next one is the quantum mechanics. This is a more complicated form. Why? Because all of the electrons and the other particles, it says that they can produce wave. And in this quantum mechanics, they will calculate the wave in here, not only like the ball of the atom, but all of the electrons and other particles. And here they use the calculation using the Schrödinger equation. It looks like this. It's really simple. Actually, it's really a long equation, so I put the most simplest one in here. So in here, C, the sign in here, C is the wave function. And then E in here is the energy of the wave function, and H is the Hamiltonian. So Hamiltonian operator of the wave function. So this is the simplest form.